What?
What?
What the hell is this?
Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor harumph.
Harumph!
You watch your ass.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Let the show begin.
Hey everybody, this is David Heretic coming at you with another edition of Reaction, Reviews, and Rants. And tonight, okay, making their debut on the channel tonight, we have Coldrain. Yes, indeed. How about that? Coldrain making their debut on the channel. I gotta watch what I say here because if I'm not careful, I might end up saying Coldplay or Coldrain. You know, but it's not. It's all one word, Coldrain. Before we go any further, for those of you who are feeling inclined to doing all the clicks and the likes and the bibbity bop, do me a favor before you do all that stuff. Please watch the whole video first, okay? Give me a chance to actually earn those clicks and likes. Now, after the video's done, if you still feel like doing all those clicks and likes, then by all means, feel free to click away. This comes as a request from Childra, and this is actually Childra's prioritized request for the month of November for being a silver tier member on the Patreon page. So, here you go, Childra. Hope you enjoy the show. Children want to see me react to this. It is Coldrain with a tune entitled Runaway. Now, have I heard this song before? No, I have not. To the best of my knowledge, this does not resonate with me in any way, shape, or form. However, there's always a possibility I may have heard the song in passing and I just don't realize it. So as always, if I start listening to the song and I suddenly go, wait a second, I recognize this song, I'll let you know.
That's the truth.
You know me, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Let's see, this was posted by Coldrain, all right? And the video has 725,000 views. It'll get you there. Other than that, there's really nothing else left to say. Link to the original video will be down below in the video description for your viewing pleasure at your leisure. Let's get started. What do you say? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because here we go. All right, here we go. Coldrain, Runaway, live at Budokan. Nice. Budokan's one of those legendary venues, man. If you play a Budokan, you know you've made it. All right, let's do this.
All right, boy, let's do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kagashita Japan, get up, everybody shout,
I like the ending.
time and time again, you better ready to come up to damage. Not from like I say, no matter how you tempting, truth is only black, yeah. You can beg and plead forgiveness. It's a shame, please don't believe. Run away, you don't care about the chance, but it's on your run away, you abuse all of the trust, maybe you should just run away. You can't plead for faith, that in silence open everyone's forgotten. You run on luck, a falling tyrant that will make you pay for your sins. You beg and plead forgiveness, so everybody jump, get up,
Okay.
let's go. Run away.
Really quick, I want to point this out because I've I've complained about this in the past, and I've seen other bands, you know, where the vocalist or the guitar player or somebody plays to the camera and completely take their attention away from the crowd. And I've complained about it, and I've criticized bands for doing it, but I've also said there's one exception to that rule. If you're going to play to the camera, there better be a reason for it. And the only reason I can think of is, well, there's actually two reasons. One, you are intentionally filming and getting footage for a live DVD, you know, for the purpose of the creation of this DVD, play to the camera. Absolutely. Because that's done with purpose of creating a product. So yeah, absolutely. No problem there. If you are playing to a camera and you're not creating a live DVD or a live Blu-ray or live concert video of some kind, whatever the case may be, then the only other exception to that rule is if that camera is being utilized specifically for a live feed to be transmitted over video screens, which is exactly what's happening here. But I've seen bands where there's no video screens, or they're playing to the camera and there's no video screens on, or they're not being used, or they're not picking up that feed. In this case, it's picking up the feed. So what you see here on our screens is what the crowd is going to see, you know, on their video monitors, their video screens, so they can see it. That's different. I have no problem with that whatsoever. All right. So I'm not mad at this at all. It is still crowd interaction in a roundabout way. So. Okay, the ads. All right, Childra warned me there were ads after this. And he said, don't worry about playing them. Because it's like 30 seconds of ads. So I'm going to skip on it, obviously. It's not part of the performance. It's not part of the song. It's just ads, ads, ads. So we're going to stop right here. Okay. Wow. There's a lot to take in. A lot to take in, a lot to think about. Let me get my thoughts together. I'll see you in the review and we'll talk about it. Well, there you go, folks. That was Coldrain with Runaway. This was a request from Childra. And this was actually Childra's prioritized request for the month of November for being a silver tier member on the Patreon page. So, here you go, children. I hope you enjoyed the show. Oh boy. All right, I thought about it. I took everything I could into account, and I have a score here, and the score makes sense to me. Hopefully it will make sense to you. In case it doesn't, please stick around and listen to my reasonings, because if you listen to how I came up with the score, it'll make a lot more sense. Having said that, let's get to the score. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give that an 8.2. Yep, 8.2. I feel good about that score. Let me tell you why.
Why?
Okay, first things first, an 8.2. What does that mean? Well, an 8.2 would translate to a great skill rating, because overall, I think this was a great presentation. It would also get 4 to 5 stars and an A- letter grade. Yeah, an A-. Let that one sink in. So there you go, an 8.2, great skill rating, 4 to 5 stars, and an A- letter grade. Now, how did I come up with that score? Haha! So glad you asked. All right. This was a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun. Very high energy, very audially and visually stimulating. There is no way you're gonna fall asleep listening to a song like this. Right from the beginning, right from the get-go, it kicked in and it never slowed down. It never pumped the brakes. It never deviated, except that there was this one section where we went to the breakdown section where we did kind of switch gears a little bit, but then we turned right back around and got back into the main groove again, like we never left. So I have absolutely no problem with that, considering the fact that the pacing of the song, the tempo of the song, the drive and energy of the song was all extremely well done. Very, very effectively. Palatable, I guess, is a great way to describe it. You can feel it, you can touch it, you can smell it, you can taste it. And believe me, folks, when I say this, it was glorious. The song, okay, the notation, the chordal progression, it was good. It was good. It was simple, it was basic, but it was very effective, considering the direction, the energy, and the drive that it was being used in. I got no problem with it. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm blown away by it, but at the same time, I have no complaints at all. Easy to follow, very relatable, and very familiar sounding, because there's a lot of other bands that have utilized songs that follow a very similar, if not the exact same, chordal progression. So, I have absolutely no problem with that whatsoever. The strength in the song is not in the chordal progression. It is not in the notational selection. It is in the energy of the song and the drive of the song and the feel of the song. That's its strength. Absolutely it is. As far as musicianship goes, I gotta say, pretty tight, especially in a live setting. This was not a studio recording. This was all done live. You get one shot, you get one chance to make a good impression, and they absolutely did. Guitars, playing in sync with each other, and bass too. There were a number of times where everybody was, except for the drummer obviously, but guitars and bass and orchestra, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But there were a number of times where everybody was playing syncopated, playing the exact same notes at the exact same time, and it was tight. It was very tight. So I got to tip the cap to them. In a live setting, that is not easy to do all the time. Lots of practice went into that. Very obvious, a lot of rehearsal went into that. Vocally, I think the delivery was good. There was, a pretty good balance of melodic singing and grit and growl vocals. I think there was a little more on the melodic singing part, which I personally prefer. But it was still a nice balance overall, and both were done really well. Whether it be the clean vocal, melodic singing vocal style, or whether it be the grit and growl, gravel voice style. They were both done well, both done very strongly in a live setting. So again, got to tip the cap to them a little bit. As far as the strings go, the orchestration back there, the orchestra section. I am sure that they were playing a Budokan, and if you're gonna play a Budokan, you want to come out and put on a strong showing. Utilizing a string orchestra like that, it's not a bad way to go. It's going to help add to the overall thickness of your sound, and it's going to look really good too. It's going to make the stage seem bigger. So I absolutely get that. Now my question is this: I believe wholeheartedly that string orchestra was hired to be there for that performance only. I'm like 95% sure of that. There is the 5% though of me that's wondering, because they did sound like it went hand in hand with each other. I doubt it. I very seriously doubt this is the case. Is that orchestra actually a part of the band? Like, is this a package deal? It's possible. It is possible, but it's extremely unlikely. So if fans of Coldrain could please fill in the blank there for me, was this a string orchestra that was just hired for that gig and that gig alone, or is this string orchestra like a common thing with them? Like, do they travel with the band every time they play live? Is there a string orchestra? The only reason I'm wondering, and the only reason I'm not 100% sure that wasn't just hired for that gig, they were really tight, like really tight, especially when it came to the syncopated part. Now I know the orchestra was sitting there reading the music. I know they had music stands in front of them, and I know they were reading the music. And if they're a competent orchestra, I'm sure they could do it, you know, especially with some rehearsal time. But it was unusually tight, like tighter than I usually hear in orchestra. So I'm just curious if Coldrain fans could please fill in that blank for me. Is the orchestra a common thing, or were they just hired for this one concert only? No, overall, I think the song is really good, man. I would just take the song alone. I would give it about a 7.7, honestly. I think that sounds about right. But I'm giving this an 8.2. What happened there? How'd that happen? Well, if you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, you already know what I'm gonna say. So say it with me, kids.
Sing it out one time.
A live show can help your score, or it can hurt your score. In this case, it helped. It helped quite a bit, actually. Let's go down the checklist of things I look for in a live performance. Stage presence. Yeah, check. They look like performers. They act like performers. In particularly the next part, which we're going to talk about, stage energy. Check. A lot of movement and motion on that stage. And what really kind of raised the bar just a little bit more for me with these guys, when they would move around the stage, they moved with purpose. They moved with intensity. There was never one time where I was watching where I saw anybody move casually, like they were just kind of strolling to their spot. No, everybody moved with intent. Every step had a certain level of intensity and power to it, like a sense of urgency in a way. So everything was done intensely. Everything was done with that style of non-casual energy. They weren't just kind of, you know, casually strolling over from one side of the stage to the other. No, every step had intent behind it. So that was really cool. Very, very cool. And I know people are going, why is this so important to you? Let me see if I can put this in perspective. For those of you that have watched pro wrestling before, and since like the 80s, okay, let's just go to the 80s. There was a wrestler, probably my favorite Japanese wrestler of all time, known as the Great Muta. The reason I liked Muta, he had a good move set, number one. I love the face paint and the misting. I thought that was always very cool when he would do it. That's number two. But what I really loved about the Great Muta, if you ever want to know what I'm talking about, go on YouTube and look up some of his matches with, against any of the Four Horsemen, especially against Ric Flair or against Sting. I think those two honestly had just great complementary moveset to each other. Everything Muda did was with intent and with intensity. Even when he would walk around the ring and there would be purpose behind every step. He would either be very slow, very dramatic, very casual, like he's trying to lure you into a trap, or his steps would be explosive with a ton of snap. I'm just talking about stepping. Forget about the moveset. Every stomp, every chop, every punch, everything had snap to it, intensity to it. And I watched this band, and the first thing that went through my head was, my God, everybody on stage is moving like Muda. That is outstanding. So, I mean, it was a lot of fun to see, a lot of fun to watch. So stage energy absolutely is there, and then some. Stage interaction. Unfortunately, this gets a big fat goose egg. I didn't see any members of the band interacting with each other at all, whether it be intentional or even casual, which is unfortunate because that would have that would have been really nice to see with a band like this, with an act like this, with a stage show like the way they have it set up. It is and the way that they move and the way that they set up and are constantly in motion, crisscrossing with each other. It would have been really nice to see some stage interaction. It really would have looked good. But unfortunately, we didn't have any, so that's a big fat zero. Zilch, nada. But moving on to the most important one for me, crowd interaction. Oh yeah, a lot, quite a bit. That gets a big check. I loved how they utilized the video screens with the camera. I'm sure that was rehearsed. I'm sure that was intentional. I don't think that was accidental at all. But utilizing the camera, which I've been very critical of bands in the past when they utilize and they play to a camera, but it does absolutely nothing for the crowd. You know, if you're gonna utilize the camera, it should be for the purpose of video screens, unless you're filming intentionally, getting footage for a concert video. Okay, well then that's different because you're creating a product and you want that product to be, you know, as top notch as you can. So those are my only two reasons for playing to a camera. Honestly, if neither one of those conditions are being met, don't worry about cameras. Let them do their thing. You do yours. Okay. But no, they utilized the camera for the purpose of the video screens. The lead singer was constantly reaching out to the crowd and interacting with the crowd. And so were the guitar players and the bass player. They were all interacting with the crowd in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, crowd interaction gets a big check. Showmanship. Yep, they put on a great live show. Visually, it looked great. So I got no issue with that one whatsoever. So that gets a check. And then the last one, production. Yeah, their lights. Their lights were very clearly designed to be utilized for the show, for that particular song. There was a lot of parts where they all went in sync together. On top of that, you also had the video screens operating, which was nice. I do count video screens as production. They don't have to be there. Yeah, they could have performed without them and it would have been just fine, but they added them in. Why? To enhance the overall live show for everybody in the crowd. So I think that's a very smart move, and it absolutely counts. The orchestra, to some extent, would also go into production. Now, it's going to go hand in hand with my original question, though. Is the orchestra, when it comes to Coldrain's live shows, is the orchestra always there? Are they a set piece of the overall live product? Are they, you can bank on them being there every single time, or were they hired for the sake of this one show? If they were hired for the sake of this one show, I would absolutely count that as production. Yes, absolutely. If they are part of the live product that you can expect from Coldrain every single time they play live, not so much. At that point, they're performers, not stage sets. So it wouldn't count as production if that's the case. But I'm going to, because like I said, I'm 95% sure that they were hired for the show. I am going to include them in the production. So yeah, nice production, nice live show, and just a very enjoyable experience between the music, the musicianship, the visuals, the live show. Yeah, I think it was a great job overall, which is why I'm giving it the great score of 8.2. I feel good about that score, and that's where we're going to stay. So let's wrap everything up here in a nice shiny bow, shall we? We have an 8.2, which is a great scale rating, 4 out of 5 stars, and an A- letter grade. Take your pick, I don't care, whichever one of those floats your boat. Final word, final score, I have spoke. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. Hopefully you all enjoyed the show. Hope I was able to entertain you. If I was able to put a smile on your face and brighten your day, I did my job, and I'm so glad I could do it. If you guys feel like joining the fan base, go ahead and click on that button down there. If you guys want to like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you guys want to ring the bell, go ahead and ring the bell. It honestly doesn't make any difference at all to me, but if you guys feel like doing these things, well then by all means, feel free to do so. Well, that's going to do it for tonight, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, this is David Heretic signing off, reminding you to stay fabulous and support each other. Later. Peace.